Hello guys, and welcome to my first video. My name is Marco. I'm our backend engineer who mainly build Observer and Watchtower. What this to mean is currently irrelevant for now. We're gonna clear this up later in the video. Just note, this is not a long video. It is just gonna be a short one clearing up our architecture and how we build Observer and Watchtower together. Because this is my first video overall here on YouTube, it's a bit difficult to estimate what you wanna see and what is maybe interesting. I think for this series, I'm just gonna keep it at explaining our architecture and gonna show you the code of Observer and maybe some parts of Watchtower. It's gonna depend on how motivated we are to kind of produce new videos and content for you. But nevertheless, I hope it's also some kind of progress for our team to keep track on what we're doing and have videos and kind of cool time lapses we can watch later on in our life. And a quick side note from the editing me, we're definitely gonna do a video about how the code works. First idea for Observe in general came from us, and we all have home labs and there are a lot of applications out there who can monitor and kind of show metrics, but we wanted to build our own with a kind of a bit of a different style. The other applications, such as I think it's called ServerCat, require an SSH connection to your server or a key in the front end to be safe. If I'm correct, I may be mistaken there, but I think it is that way. And this is something we just didn't like. And there are also paid solutions out there, but why pay for a service if you can build it in like 5,000 hours yourself and waste completely your time? And that's gonna be the journey we are documenting here. So let's jump over to the computer and I'm gonna show you our architecture. So in general, Observe is quite simple, consisting of three parts. We have one part, which is the metrics collector, we have Watchtower and our iOS frontend. In Observer, we have our different metrics collectors. One is for the CPU, one is for memory, network, etc. We also have some for Docker containers and there is also GPU support planned for the future. Watchtower is our kind of proxy application which sits in the middle and then is our backend for storing all the metrics. It stores them for up to an hour and notification for now I think 15 minutes and then they become irrelevant, but we're gonna change that in the future. One part here is not shown in our schematic, which is Authentic, which is our OIDC provider for later then becoming our front-end sign-in and also for our iOS application user management. To push the data through the applications, it's currently set up to use HTTP. Observer by default sends every 10 seconds a new metric to Watchtower. You can configure that in our application settings during the installer or manual through the file. Watchtower then takes those metrics and saves them in our database. Currently our database consists of a timescale DB and a Redis caching server in front of that. And when all go through and everything's happy, the data is in our database for around an hour. Then every 5 minutes there's a cleanup job which runs and deletes all the old metrics. There are two different cleanup jobs. One cleans up the data from every hour, which runs every 5 minutes. And then there's another big one every day, which cleans up all the data which may have accumulated through the other processes. So let's talk a bit on how Observer is changing and how the metrics be stored in the future. We're gonna remodel a bit and put more on our storage side to Observer. The key difference in the future is that the data doesn't get stored on our side anymore, it gets stored on your application on your machine. There are a few benefits to this. One is that we don't deal with the data anymore, so we have less compute cost. But the other one is that the data is truly yours, lies on your machine and doesn't get passed through us anymore. The advantage is that we can store the metrics longer on your machine. Our recap screen is currently in beta testing, which relies on this data. It keeps pulling data from longer time periods and therefore can show more accurate data and trends. It sacrifices a bit of storage capacity on your machine for a more private data storage and more analytics in Observe. For how we are storing this data on your machine, there's gonna be a separate video explaining our custom data format. It took quite some time to figure out how to effectively store the data on your end because we didn't just want to put in MySQL database in front of it and call it a day. There are much sleeker ways for storing this data, but we're gonna keep that up for another video. So, you're at the end for the video. First I want to say thank you that you watched till the end. It's quite an honor to show our project to you guys. Maybe we're gonna see us in the next video and I'm gonna explain you a bit more about our code base. So see you there.